Well, hello, everybody. Welcome to an off-season edition of the Missing Links post-game podcast live stream thing. I'm your host, Andrew Dukowitz from Zone Coverage, beat reporter for the Lynx, Gophers, and Wolves. And today we got a special guest, Nicole Jackson, one of the head of the Los Lynx fan club, Twitter group chats, Discords, anywhere that it says Los Lynx. She has been there forever. But now she is a part of the credentialed Minnesota Lynx media beat. And I wanted to make sure we gave her space to shout her out for that. So Nicole Jackson, how's it going?
Hey Andrew, thanks so much. It's been going great so far. About 2 months into this and learning so much. Also had the privilege to be on the Unrivaled media availability this past week and just learning a lot, man. It's been super fun so far.
I want to ask you about the Unrivaled real quick, because last
Mhm.
season, I think they were almost shocked that people would want to cover them. I heard stories of journalists going down there and they didn't even have like media rooms set up or anything. How was it? How was it so far this season? Did it seem pretty organized?
Organized. It was great. I mean, there was the media members that were in the Zoom. I just recognized so many names from ESPN and all the platforms. I'm like, man, there's some heavy hitters in here. Like, wow, and I'm just honored to be amongst them. So it was, yeah, plenty of coverage. As you see, all the tweets and social media and reposts and on all social media platforms of just some of the behind the scenes and the interviews with the players and stuff. So yeah, plenty of coverage this year.
They do such a good job with that, the behind the scenes stuff. Even last year, like the Lynx have always been good with the
Mhm.
behind the scenes, like just weird niche like content, but Unrivaled, I feel like took it to another level. So I'm glad they're continuing that. Nate Pence, sponsor of Hitting the Hardwood, already in here saying, "What's up, Nicole?" Um, I wanted to get into a little bit of your journey here because, again, for the 3 years that I've been covering the Lynx, you have been in every fan group chat or every Discord or every anything that I've gotten invited into. How did that transition happen from being like a fan of the Lynx into now having articles published on the Best Damn W show and covering basketball?
Yeah, it happened so crazy, like organically. So the previous, like the last 2 years, being a part of what started out as on the Facebook kind of links fan groups. That's kind of how I got connected. I'm an out-of-state Minnesota fan. Have no Minnesota ties. Never really set foot in the state of Minnesota prior to Maya Moore's jersey retirement in the 2024 season. But I've been a big Lynx fan since 2011, and so I've just been wanting to connect with other Lynx fans, and so I found these two social media, these two Facebook groups, Lynx Army and Lynx Prowlers and stuff like that. Started conversing with fans there. From there, we broke off into the Twitter group chat, and then broke off into a Discord group chat, and then this past season just created a space called Los Lynx Nation, bridging the gap with Lynx fans and wanting to expand a little bit. Because again, I'm out of state, so I don't get a chance to go to Target Center that often. And so wanted to do like virtual watch parties via the playback platform prior
Mhm.
to them, stepping away briefly just recently. And also doing some like travel for away games. And so we were able to kind of to coordinate something for the Chicago Sky game back this past July. So it was really cool. And just, yeah, another way to connect fans far and wide. I mean, on the playback, virtual watch parties for the Lynx away games, we've had people in other countries, the Netherlands and Turkey, Canada. I mean, I don't know what time it was their time, but they were up watching Lynx hoops and just conversing with us. And it was such a fun time. So from there, but I'd been doing a few like freelance stuff with Downtown Voices.
Yeah.
I wrote a few article pieces just from a fan perspective of hyping up the Lynx season and like what to look forward to going into the postseason for 2024 before that finals run that they made. So I had that, kind of in my portfolio. I've done a few news interviews just as a Lynx fan with Care 11. And also I was down at WNBA All-Star in Phoenix in 2024, got interviewed for the news down there. And so I used all of that. I saw a tweet from Jay Holloway who's over the Best Damn W show team. He was looking for, to expand his team and looking for some other journalists to cover the different WNBA markets as well as women's college basketball. So I was like, hey, let me throw my hat in the ring. So, like I said, at my portfolio of some of the articles that I'd written to date and my news interviews and stuff, we had a great chat, and also just discussed my genuine passion for the game. And again, I've been a Lynx fan since 2011, but I've been following the W since I was in high school, 2006, when the WNBA games were broadcast on like Lifetime channel. You know what I'm saying? So I've seen the league grow and expand and progress. And so we were just kind of discussed that. And so he was like, "Look, I want to invite you on the team to write. Obviously, you're a Lynx fan, so you can cover that." But being based in LA, got a chance to now cover UCLA women's basketball
Yeah.
team and do a little bit of coverage for the Sparks. So again, just really excited.
It's always wild because I sometimes like dismiss my own journey like coming into media of like, you just kind of get lucky, but like it really is all of those, you just do like a one-off article as a fan and you're really passionate, and then that one-off thing that you do ends up being something that helps you get into this place. So like,
Hmm.
well, it might seem like luck, a lot of times it is just like hard work that you're not realizing you're doing. I want to ask you about UCLA. This is a little
Hmm.
bit of a spoiler because we are going to talk draft later on, but how is covering Lauren Betts, how's covering the UCLA team? Because they're coming to Minnesota to play in the barn this year, and I'm excited to kind of get a chance to get an up close look at them as well.
Yeah. Again, one of the perks so far that I've had is the invitation as media to come to some of their open practices and then
Mhm.
get a chance to interview, post practice interview with Coach Close and some of the players. And just recently, a few weeks ago, was out there and they were looking great. I think they were preparing for I think they were going to the Players Era tournament before
Oh,
they
sure.
played Texas and all that down in Las Vegas. And it was just so cool to see them just working through their drills and everything like that. They're looking great. They're a deep team. They're ranked number 4 for a reason. People I think still sleep on them a little bit. But they're such a balanced team. They've got scoring. It doesn't always. Yes, Lauren is the anchor, but Gianna Neekpins and Angela Dukowitz and all that. Like they've got shooters and they've got help. So this team is exciting to watch, and I know you guys are going to get a treat when they come to Minnesota. But yeah, just having the chance to attend games live has been really special.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know how it is for UCLA media, but I know like Gophers media, there's not a ton of reporters or journalists there, so it's a nice place to kind of get in and actually talk to the players a little bit more and
Hmm.
kind of build those relationships. But Minnesota's in the complete opposite side of it. They have a top 10 defense. Their 3 losses have all been against undefeated teams at the time that they played them, and their offense struggles to say
Mm,
the least. It
yeah.
is it is clunky at times, but for sure having UCLA come and play in the barn, I think they're already almost at a sellout, so it's
Ooh.
going to be a great environment. And like that's the fun part about covering like college kids is it like this is what it is about, is the environment, like the fun aspect of it, where in the professional league it's a little bit more wet blanket, everybody's trying to win a championship. How has your impression of Lauren Betts been this season so far, though? Do you feel like she is going to be top of the draft class still? What are your thoughts on her potentially being with the Lynx? Because I promise you Cheryl will probably be at that UCLA game.
Oh, for sure. She was, I think, they caught her out. Well, not caught, but she was out at. I mean, she's not hiding, but
Cheryl in public, it's like seeing like a black bear in the woods. It's like, oh man, Cheryl's here.
exactly. But she was out in Vegas for that Players Era Classic, and so yeah, she's doing her due diligence as well as Kurt down in Dallas, and what Seattle has the number 3 pick. So I mean, again, just seeing her up close and personal. Yes, she is as advertised. I mean, 6'7", one. You can't beat size, right? I
Yeah.
mean, who couldn't use a 6'7" center? But she is expanding her game. You see, she's doing a bit more in the mid range. She's not just a post up and doing that type of stuff. She's expanding. She's shooting from deep range. Trying to shoot some threes. So I like where she's headed. So yes, I do still see her as but it's also the needs of the team.
Yeah.
But she's definitely lottery pick for sure. Top five.
Well, let's get into the Lynx side of it real quick because
Sure.
maybe we'll save the CBA talk until the end, but unless chat revolts and wants us to talk about it now. But like the Lynx side of it, I think is really fascinating because we have no clue what's going to happen. Currently on roster, I believe it's Maya Hirsch, uh, Dorka Juhas, and Ola Kosu, and then maybe Aubrey Griffin. I don't know. She's maybe.
That's a good point because technically didn't sign, they drafted her and she was around, but she didn't sign her contract. I don't know how that
Correct.
worked, honestly, but
So
I'm pretty sure yes.
she was hanging out. I tried to ask like Cheryl and the organization a couple times of like what her status was and kind of got like a shrug emoji back and then and then just kind of went like, all right, none of my business. But I think they still have her rights because she didn't technically play for them or sign to a contract. But that's it. Everyone else on this team is a free agent or restricted free agent. I mean, I think there's certain players we can probably pencil in. Let me know if you disagree with any of these, but I'm only going to name 3 of them.
Mhm.
Kayla McBride, I think is about as, if she plays next year, I think that's in Sharpie. And she said in her exit interview that she couldn't imagine experiencing that feeling with any other team. Like
Mhm.
she's back. I think Nafisa Collier is back. I know, everyone's a little anxious about it just because unrivaled, and is she going to get kind of swoon to greener pastures, sparks, Valkyries, all that fun stuff. But like, I still betting favorite Fee is back. And then the last one I have penned in is Alana Smith. Like, I think Lan understands that being next to Fee and with Cheryl as a coach and this offense is hands down the best situation for her, and I think the Lynx are going to reward her for everything she does. I don't really have anyone else on this roster penned in. Is there anyone that you would add to that list, or what are your thoughts on kind of the other, I guess, 7 to 8 gals that are going to be hitting free agency?
Yeah. So 3 for 3. Those are 3 that I had penciled in as well. Especially Fee. I feel like she's our franchise player. I don't see Fee wanting to do this super team, and go off and she runs this organization that's built around her. Like Cheryl is building this team around her. And I have no doubt that she would want to leave Minnesota. So I think she's solid. Kayla McBride, like you said, she just poured so much into this. I mean, she's top. What I think she's top 3 or something already, and she's only been here 5 years and like scoring and links. I mean, she's up there and setting
If
records
they
and
win a
breaking records.
championship, her jersey's getting retired. Like that has
Absolutely,
to be a motivating factor to stay here.
absolutely,
Like if I win
absolutely.
one, I'm up there next to Waylon.
Facts. And then Lana Smith, I mean, yes, she just won Defensive Player of the Year, Co-Defensive Player of the Year. You don't let that walk out the door,
Yeah.
especially with Cheryl being defensive first, defensive identity with the Lynx. Yeah, like you said, the front court duo with her and Fee, you want to keep that continuity going. So I absolutely think those 3. For me, also, and again, we don't know how these expansion drafts are gonna, shake out and how many you can what is it, like preserve or whatever. We don't know how that's going to work, but I would hope that we could somehow protect Dejanay Carrington and
Yeah.
bring her back because it was such a short run. We traded for her right at the deadline in August, at the beginning of August. Then she got injured, so she wasn't there for that playoff run with us. So I want to run it back with her with a fresh, beginning of the season. She was a huge piece, and we could have really used her, especially during that Phoenix series. So I think bringing Dejanay, again, another defensive-minded player, that's a Cheryl type player. Other than that, Dorka Juhas was somebody
Mhm.
that I think we already talked about. She is penciled in as far as because she's still under the rookie contract because they suspended it. But yeah, I'm super looking forward to that. So with that being said, I do kind of want it with expansion. So if they're locked in under contract, she doesn't need to be protected then, or she still needs to be protected.
So ESPN, I think it was Kevin Pelton. I
Right.
apologies to if it's not Kevin Pelton, but they put out an article saying that the WNBA is thinking of having like 5 players that you can protect, and then everyone else is free game, but the 2
Mm.
incoming teams can only select 1 unrestricted free agent, and then that
Mhm.
player gets like a full max and has to play
Oh.
for their team, which like, you know, do you really need to protect Bridget Carleton? Like, is
Right,
Toronto
right.
going to offer her a max? Like, but that does mean after those two
Mhm.
unrestricted free agents, then it's just a normal draft. And like
Mhm.
Dorka Juhas would be the perfect like second or third round pick in a draft. So they'd have to protect her. I feel the same way with Kosu, who Godfrey mentions is, Kosu's good. Hope she's on the team. Like she's 20. I feel like the amount of time and effort they've already put into her, you probably have to protect her too, and then
Mhm.
just see where the chips lie. But yeah, it is going to be really weird because I don't know what your thoughts are, but the stud buds, it seems like part of them being the representatives at the draft lottery, I think is like
Mhm.
tea leaves you can read. Dejanay Carrington posts miss you thing on Instagram with the links. Like those are tea leaves that you can leave or
Mhm.
read. But with Court and T, they're gonna get paid a ton this off season.
Yeah.
And especially if they're a package deal, like are the links even going to be able to afford them? What are your thoughts on the stud buds though?
Yeah, that is a good thing. I was thinking about that earlier. I would, for me, I again to keep with continuity, running it back with a lot of our starters. I would love it if, and I'm sure Cheryl would want to try and keep Court and T, if not both. But you're right. They're gonna go get the bag thrown at them.
Yep.
This free agency. Court was an all star. T what was runner up for sixth woman of the year. They had career years this past year. The development that Lindsay Whalen, I mean, yeah, was just not night and day. I mean, they were great in 2024 as well, but I mean, you really just saw the progression that they had this past season. So yeah, they're definitely going to be an asset to another team, especially Heidemann. As far as she's coming off the bench, she'll probably be able to be a starter on another
Yeah.
squad. So I mean, that's something for her to think about. But then yeah, splitting up the stud buds, like you can't do that. Who knows? I would love for them to stay, but I would understand if they don't, and so we'll have to look to fill that lead guard position.
Let's I agree with you. And I would be personally devastated if they broke up the stud buds because like you're gonna be like on the practice Zoom when we get practice interviews now. Like those two are hilarious all the time. Like there is no off button with them ever. And if they're on different teams, I'll feel a little robbed of my basketball entertainment. You mentioned Dejanay as somebody that you would really want back. I feel similar. I feel like she is like lab bred to be a Cheryl Reeve type of player. I mean, her
Yes.
contacts falling out and she's popping it back in her eye without solution. Like that has Cheryl Reeve grit written all over it. Um, but there's also the Bridget Carleton of it. What are kind of your thoughts on that small forward? Well, I guess Dejanay is a little smaller, but that kind of like off guard
Mhm.
small forward position between, Bridget and Dejanay, who Bridget's also probably in line to make quite a bit of money, I would assume.
Yeah, yeah. And then people were like, "Oh, Bridget to Toronto," which I could definitely see that. Again, would love Bridget. Have followed her. She's been with the Lynx since 2019. So seen her grow and progress. But at the same time, this past season, just offense, like she was, known for her defense, but also known for her 3-point shooting. Just her numbers were, her stats were just not like the 2024. Kind of regressed a little bit. And so needing more production at that wing spot. I think Dejanay could fill in there. If for whatever reason Bridget doesn't come back, whether she gets picked up in the expansion draft or if she just signs with another team, I think if we can keep Dejanay, maybe she slides into that starting role at
Mhm.
the three. And then you just kind of go from there. Or this could go into our draft, depending on what Kurt does at the one. Maybe a certain somebody might fall to the Lynx at two from a certain stores, Connecticut, that could instantly, get placed in there. So I think we have options. Would love Bridget back, but again, another one of those situations. I would understand it if she wants to go elsewhere.
It's and let's tease the draft here. We are going to get to that, but I'm going to run a couple ads here first. But I do think this free agency is going to be a testament of kind of Cheryl Reeves' organizational pull of like
Mhm.
how how much do these players like really love being a member of the Lynx and really love like being coached by Cheryl and the power of friendship that Alana Smith always talks about, because they're gonna get paid like and the Lynx can't pay all of them. So if Courtney is getting a max contract from, I don't know, Seattle, is she gonna be able to turn down a max for, maybe 2/3 of that, maybe half of what a max is to return to the Lynx? And I mean, when players are turning down that kind of money, that's usually a testament to like the culture and kind of the industry that the honestly coaching staff is built at this point, because Cheryl's been here longer than anyone else. But what is your kind of thought on how big of an asset that is, that Cheryl does kind of carry this gravitas where like players love playing for her? I don't think she's perfect for every player, but the ones that she scouts and chooses to bring in, they usually develop a bond with her.
Absolutely. I think Kayla McBride was another one in her exit interview that was talking about, during that time where at the beginning of the season, where she was on personal leave and stuff, and she was in constant communication with Cheryl and would spend hours on the phone and stuff. And that is like, wow, you didn't really think about that. Like, wow, Cheryl, just outside of a coach, of just being somebody to be a listening ear, just as a person. And so, yeah, I think on a couple of the stud bud streams that I've caught, I think one time where she was shaving Court's head and she FaceTimed Cheryl and like one of the first things she said was like, first, I miss you. Like it's just cute
Hmm.
stuff like that where you really just as a person, besides as a coach, that bond, like you said, I think is very organic. I think is the real deal. And so you're right. I think players do want to stay here. And then I think another thing too, if what's their motivation? Are they motivated by the bag, or are they motivated by potentially winning a championship like now in win now mode, because the
Hmm.
Lynx are in win now mode? And so if that is kind of what their motivating factor is, then a Seattle is, with the new coach and, now Don Malonga, they drafted last year. They have the number 3 pick. They're probably in somewhat of a rebuild. Like they're
Yeah.
starting over a little bit. They're going a little younger. So if Court wants to do that, they may not be winning championships or competing, like that, but you're going to get paid to help develop and all that type of stuff. So I think whatever each player's motivating factor is, if it's to win a championship, I think they'd want to stay here in Minnesota.
That's a really good point, because there are players on this team that I mean, I truly believe that Court hates to lose, like at anything. And I think she would be miserable playing on a rebuilding team. So that's a really good point. I am going to run us over to a couple ad reads, and then we'll talk about Cheryl Reeves' affinity for drafting Huskies and what that might mean this year. Well, hello. Thank you, Livestream Andrew. This is Ad Read Andrew. And today we have Firehawk Construction and Remodeling, the presenting sponsor for the Missing Links podcast. Firehawk Construction and Remodeling strives to inspire people to follow their ideas, working with respect and understanding to create a quality, tailored result. Firehawk Construction and Remodeling, located in Blaine and serving in the North Metro area, is here to help you with your building and remodeling needs. I can say personally, thanks to Firehawk Construction and Remodeling, I have a beautiful deck in my backyard, and countless projects that I started, they finished. Get started on your new deck or remodel today by calling Isaac at 763 710 5686. And we're back with another ad read, this time for Pence Homes, the presenting sponsor of Hitting the Hardwood Network. From the best tools and technology to transparency throughout the entire process, Nate Pence and the Pence Homes team is the top choice for buyers, sellers, and is proud to support you and your home ownership goals. Get started today by calling 612-308-1122 or by emailing info@pencehomes.com. All right, Nicole, I am going to pose this question to you because you are probably more locked into the college basketball season than I am. I say that just because I do cover the Gophers women's basketball team, but outside of the team that they are playing that week, I really don't watch a ton of college basketball. I'm in full NBA brain mode right now, but Minnesota, second overall pick. I know Olivia Miles, the stuff that I've seen from her looks really promising. AZ Fudd from UConn is probably your most clear-cut, like Kayla McBride replacement down the road. And then your very own Lauren Betts is a generational talent. Kind of what's your thoughts? Like, let's say hypothetically they do bring back Dejanay, Land, Fee, and K-Mac, and then the draft is next. Like, who do you feel like out of the top tier is like a good fit for a Lynx team that maybe needs a point guard, maybe needs that size, and also could use the shooting?
Yeah, I think with the draft, first, I don't think we'll go for a point guard. If for whatever reason we can't, bring back Courtney and or T, I think Cheryl's going to go for a veteran in free agency. So I don't think she wants to. Again, we're in win now mode. I don't think we have time for a rookie to, get the hang of things, on the fly and things like that. So we're going to go get a vet for a point guard. I think the two things, or the two players that I really feel like, again, it's what Kurt Miller wants to do down in Dallas. If he goes for AZ at 1, then I feel like Awa Pham, who plays overseas, even though she's not in the college scene, she is somebody who playing for Valencia, I believe, over in Italy, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, I've been watching some of her games through EuroLeague and things like that. She is the real deal. I think this past game she lit it up. And so watching some of those highlights, she's I think 6'4", so great
6'4",
size.
19 years old, I believe. That is
Yes.
insane.
So a nice for the future, to grow
Yeah.
with the organization. So I can see that maybe, grabbing her at number 2. If or vice versa, if let's say Dallas wants to go with Awa Pham, then you got to go with AZ at number 2. Like, come on now. Because again, if Bridget doesn't come back, AZ can play the 3. And then you got another shooter there with K-Mac. And so it's a pick your poison offense. But here's my sleeper as far as, let's say if Dorka, for whatever reason, gets picked up in expansion draft or something like that, and we don't bring her back, because she's right now our tallest player on the roster at 6'5". Because I think we had just 6'4" this past season. So Lauren Betts could be if Dallas picks AZ at 1. Now, if again they go for Awa at 1, then you go for AZ at 2. But if she's off the board with the 1 pick, then maybe if we don't have Dork at 6'5" with that size, then we may look to go at 6'7", with Lauren Betts. I think people sleep on sometimes, and I know this might not be the most, for a lot of Lynx fans, bringing Lauren in, but I think people forget who we have on our coaching staff with Rebecca Brunson. Like again, 2 years ago, I really did not know what Land's bag was. And 2 years later, she's Defensive Player of the Year. Fee was Defensive of the Player of the Year in 2024. She can get Lauren. I trust what that development would look like, bringing Lauren in. And also I think it would be a good change for Lauren as well, because at UCLA, I think I already said it, she's kind of the anchor and the focal point. She's, on the scouting report, she's number 1. So there's that pressure, right? If she comes to the Lynx, this is Fee's team, right? So Fee is that number 1 on the scouting report. Her and Land, that front court duo, she can have a little bit more, less pressure on her coming off the bench and just to learn and develop, get in there, versus like, day one, difference maker. So I think that is something that could be key that the Lynx could use. So yeah, those are my 3 options that I think. It's either going to be AZ, Awa Pham, or potentially Lauren Betts for the Lynx.
Godfrey mentions Flauge from LSU. What are your thoughts on her? I'll just be brief with mine of like, I think if Dejanay's coming back, I don't know how
Well, I think
like
she's a
lead
point. I
that
think she's a point
team?
guard, if I'm not mistaken. So she would be kind of like either her or Olivia Miles,
Oh,
or
sure.
she might be. Yeah. So I mean, I love her game. She's great. She was on the U.S. Olympics. I think this past with Kara Lawson out
Hmm.
there. So she's solid player. I wouldn't go for at number two. Again, I think we just have other needs to fill.
Yeah.
So that's just my thoughts. For the Lynx, we have other needs to fill, so it wouldn't be for us.
She also seems like one of those like really gritty defensive, like I just don't know if you need to replicate that as much. I agree with you. Like I think AZ from UConn is the way to go. I mean, she's shooting the ball lights out. K-Mac is not going to be able to play forever, and like what a replacement plan that is if you go from
Mhm.
having a all-time great three-point shooter into a flamethrower of a three-point shooter. I just think she fits really well. I the other point I really like that you made was the point guard point, because I do see Olivia Miles getting kind of mocked to the Lynx a lot just because, oh, they're this buds leave, they need a point guard. I don't know if a rookie point guard could work with Cheryl. Like Cheryl's, and this isn't a knock on Cheryl. It's just we're watching that currently with the men's NBA team, the Wolves, with
Mhm.
Rob Dillingham, who people are complaining about not getting minutes,
Mhm.
and 37-year-old Mike Conley getting minutes every night. Like I feel like that's going to be the same way the Lynx would operate. Is
Mhm.
Cheryl is going to trust that steady hand veteran point guard significantly more than the mistakes that a rookie point guard has to go through. So I agree with you. I feel like even if Court and T leave, it's just going to be a different vet that they bring in here. And why waste the capital on a player that I think Cheryl probably even knows like isn't going to get a ton of time. I mean, I can't even really think of a young point guard that really worked for the Lynx. Even like Waylon came here after her first couple
Yeah.
contracts.
Yeah.
So it'd be a weird turn if Cheryl drafted one now.
Yeah, and I think people also forget too, like the Lynx, how they came into the lottery, they didn't miss the playoffs. Like we were the
Yep.
number one team in the regular season. We got this thanks to draft day trades to get the outright pick for Chicago, who missed the playoffs. So again, we were a player of number one team, contender, type of team. So that's why I was like, if we were in a rebuild mode, kind of like some of these teams and stuff like that, like a Connecticut and going younger and things like, then yeah, you might go for a future. You want a point guard to build with the organization. But again, we're in win now mode. We're still pretty solid if we can bring back a lot of these core players from these previous 2 years. And so that was my thought process, is just we're in a win now mode. So if we
Yeah.
were going a little bit younger in a kind of slow little rebuild type thing, then yeah, sure, we would possibly look at Olivia Miles, but it's just a different situation with the Lynx.
Let me ask you this. Do you feel like let's just say like free agency does play out, and I think Fee is somebody people want to play with. Cheryl is obviously somebody people want to play for the Lynx. I mean, I'll never forget Dejanay Carrington talking about like how they had a breakfast bar at practice instead of a breakfast cart. Like the organization treats these women right. Is there anyone like in the free agency game that you kind of like put your eye on of like, oh, that would be really nice if they came here?
So I had the one I was first off, I was looking at who are the unrestricted. I mean, I know the majority of the league is unrestricted and stuff like that. So I was just kind of going through the list, like, yes, no, they'll probably go back to the organization,
Mhm.
this, that, and the third. So some of the ones that I kind of stumbled upon. All right, Lynx fans may not be happy with this, but hear me out. Like I'm going to explain myself. So, again, we're going to point guard, right? If for whatever reason we can't bring back the stud buds, and we want to bring in a veteran point guard, I've got my eye on it. And I also made this point about Seattle potentially being in a rebuild mode with their new coach and starting that new culture.
You're
Skylar
speaking my
Diggins Smith,
language already.
Skylar Diggins. Well, she's not Smith
Mhm.
anymore. Skylar Diggins. She played with Kayla McBride at Notre Dame, so she has that familiarity with her game, that two-man game, in the front court or in the back court. Then she's currently playing with Fee at Unrivaled on the Lunar Owls, the previous last season and this season again. So there's that familiarity with the game and working together. I think she would seamlessly fit in. I think why it's an unpopular opinion is because she did the electric slide on the Lynx floor after the game. And yes, that did kind of rub us the wrong way. But look, man, I think for Skylar, she's somebody who I say this about these like vets who are they have more years behind them than in front of them, right? And
Mhm.
so for her, she has a championship has escaped her. She wasn't able to get one in college, has not gotten one in the W. She's gotten close with Phoenix that one year. If she wants to try and win a championship, why not come to the Lynx? We're ready. We've got, again, she's already played with K-Max. She's playing with Fee now. They've got great chemistry. I see it. I see that kind of seamlessly fitting in. Somebody else from Seattle who, um, again, if she may not want to stick around for this potential like rebuild, whatever they're doing there, Gabby Williams could
Yeah.
be somebody. She's a defensive first kind of player, great with steals and stuff like that. Played with Fee at UConn, so they have that familiarity. Currently playing with K-Mac right now in Fenerbahce in Turkey, so they're building that chemistry. And I think they played in the previous years. I think she was on the team last year. So
Mhm.
again, bringing in players that have already played with players on the Lynx. And I think that helps hit the ground running with chemistry, and we don't have to sit here and try and build that. Yeah, there's going to be some bumps and bruises, but I think you can build that a lot quicker. Somebody else, unpopular, just because of how everything shook out last year, but if for whatever reason she may like rethink her decision, Emma Meesman. Emma
Yeah.
Meesman trying to, whatever happened where she chose the Liberty, but things didn't really go as planned with them. If we could get her from the start of the season, are Lynx fans really going to be like, no, stay on that side? Of course not. If Cheryl wants
No.
her and she wants to, yes, you bring
One
Emma
good
Meesman
game
in.
and she'll win Lynx fans over. That's how it
Exactly.
is. Once you're one of us, you're one of us until you die.
Absolutely, basically, basically, absolutely. So I would love for Emma to, maybe be like, you know what, let me try and come over to this Link squad. I think they're the real deal over here. And then a final, potentially not the most popular, but again, I see the vision of it is Megan Gustafson.
Oh, sure.
And so she coming off the Aces championship, although her fit with the Aces was kind of hit and miss, but you see what she's doing. She plays with K-Mac over in Fenerbahce right now herself. She, I think, was the leading scorer. The last game was like at 27, 28 points or something like that. She can shoot the three. So she's a stretch big that can shoot from long range, which is what Cheryl loves. And so I think she could be another depth piece for the Lynx coming off the bench. So those are some that I kind of have my eye on. So we'll see.
I love Skylar Diggins. I don't know how a world if like Courtney Williams stays and Skylar gets signed. I don't know how I would be able to like I think there would be a lot of fines going on from like press conferences and language. The only person I would add to that list, and this is purely selfish because like I just genuinely really like her as a person, Tosh Cloud. I think if she was done with her New York extravaganza and wanted to come play for Cheryl and go for one last ring, Tosh Cloud I think would fit in wonderfully with the culture here. And then it's like again it's different when you're the vibes guy in the media, because then it's like I
Mhm.
don't know, I kind of want to just like talk to Tosh Cloud multiple times a year and learn about her life and like extract the wisdom, because every time I've ever talked to her, she is just like very philosophical and like honest
Yeah.
and yeah, just awesome. Godfrey mentions would love to see Diamond Miller back. I think she has one more year with Dallas. I think. Don't
Yes, I
quote me
believe.
on it, but I think she either has one more year with Dallas or she's a restricted free agent. I would say there's not a 0% chance that she'd come back at some point. I just think Diamond needs to go to a team that's not trying to win a championship so that she can just play and get confidence back, because
Hmm.
I think those knee injuries just messed with her mindset a little too much. And at that point, you just got to go and get 28 minutes a night and build that confidence back that your knee isn't going to buckle again. But Nicole, what are your thoughts? Diamond Miller reunion tour?
I would love nothing more than that. I love Diamond when in her time here, and I saw the potential. She was a number two pick for a reason. But you're
Yep.
right. I think those injuries set her back, and the second injury that happened, in which Bridget Carlton got inserted into the starting lineup and just never relinquished that starting spot, I think really kind of, like you said, messed with the confidence a little bit. But I kind of see. I mean, with Dallas and things like that, I can still see her kind of being, a pivotal piece in that Dallas rebuild that they're doing down there. So I think they would want to keep her. And with this new coach and the staff that he's building, we'll see who he adds on. But there's potential for that development and for her to get the meaningful minutes, like you said, to kind of get her back in the game. So as much as I would love to see her back in Minnesota, I think Dallas might be the best move for her right now.
Completely agree. It's also like, and I'm not trying to paint this as like Cheryl is just this like hard ass coach that just, young players can't play for. Like, obviously, Kosu has developed under her. I think she's like handled it very well. Fee came up under Cheryl from start to finish. I do think when you're looking to win a championship, you got to go with players that aren't going to make mental mistakes. And unfortunately, that's kind of how Diamond got her spot in the roster just gone. Was Bridget just doesn't make mistakes. Like, she'll miss shots, but like there's rarely a blown coverage. There's rarely a spot where she's not in the right spacing. And I think when you're this close, like the Lynx are, you're going to just favor that type of player. Nicole, I do want to get your thoughts here. We're going on 40 minutes, so I'm not going to hold you here for like 2 hours, but WNBA CBA, unfortunately, it kind of seems like, the players voted that they would be supportive of a work stoppage. It kind of seems like it's trending like that January deadline might be the last extension before something happens.
Mhm.
Just what are your thoughts on kind of the CBA overall? Do you think that they're going to get it done? Do you think there's going to be a work stoppage? How are you feeling on it?
Not very optimistic. I'm just gonna keep it real. Not very. Just I think, like you said, the players are. I mean, the proposals that the league has sent. We know the
Yeah.
revenue share is the biggest aspect. They're sending over the same proposal on that. They're not being transparent on breaking that down. And yeah, how many more extensions are we going to give? Right now, January 9th is the deadline. Um, you're pushing back so much of the season. I think January is when free agency was technically supposed to start, which meant the expansion drafts were already supposed to happen. So we're pushing so much of this off season. Everything's off whack. The whole schedule
Yep.
is just off. And so the two scenarios that I see, worst case is we just don't have a season because we're just so far behind. Or best case is, let's say for whatever reason they do end up coming to some type of agreement, better late than never. Maybe there's a condensed season where they're not playing the full amount of games, but maybe it's like a half season or something, so you still have a little something. But yeah, right now it doesn't look very favorable. But I stand with the players. I completely understand what they're saying. Like the league, it's really a slap in the face. You see the trajectory, you see the media rights deal that they just signed, all these new teams that are coming in, expansion and all that type of stuff. There's money. There's money out there.
Yep.
I don't know where they're trying to hide it, fix it, whatever, but we all know the money's there. They just don't want to share. And you know what? It's if you don't want to do that, then you won't have players and a product to put out there. So it's hard to have media, broadcast games when there's no players.
I mean, you're spot on. Like, I did a little bit of research on it because I'm still kicking around a piece that I'm going to put out at some point on just the CBA stuff. But the media rights total that they got from 2024 was $40 million. The media rights that they are going to be getting in 2026 between the Amazon Disney ESPN deal and the USA Network and Ion and local broadcasts and NBC and insert the other like 5 TV deals that they're going to get, it's projected to be between 400 and 500 million dollars. So you are going from 40 to 4 to 500, and you're saying that increasing the revenue share from 9.8% to 30% is insustainable despite you getting 10x, 12x just from the TV contracts, not even the jersey sales or ticket sales or anything else that comes in, or the checks that the expansion teams are cutting. So it is a really frustrating
Yeah.
to cover this right now, because
Hmm.
the players, I think, have all the good faith in the world. I think they have the public side on them. They've been pretty transparent with what they want. And then you see the league keep putting out these like $1.1 million contracts. And it's like, all you have to do is cross multiply. Like it's not
But
that hard. Like,
up to 1.5 with this, like, what? Like, please stop,
it's
stop.
like until it says 4.5 or 6, like my eyebrows are not going to get raised. But completely agree with you. Like, got to support the players in this situation, not just because, like, the players make the league run, but they also honestly have all the leverage. If Caitlin Clark, Fee, and Asia Wilson decided to play in Australia, I guarantee you we'd start watching Australian basketball.
What exactly? No, but you're absolutely right, and I think the marketability too, because you know how they're like, oh, some of these players aren't marketable and stuff. Stud buds, man,
Yeah.
from the time that they started streaming in June, you see all the brand partnerships that they have. Fee just signing with Jordan and all these shoe deals that these players and Stewie and Asia and everything. Please, these players are marketable. And now they're investing in different, types of leagues and other stuff like that. So they're generating multiple streams of income now. Angel Reese, you see, she's invested in a women's sports, like pro soccer team. She's done Victoria's Secret runway, shows and stuff like this. These players are generating multiple. They're not dependent on this W check. Now, mind you, that's another stream of revenue, right? So a check is a check, right? You don't want
Yep.
to leave money on the table. So obviously they still want to work, they still want to play, but they're not. I think the league is underestimating um just if the work stoppage happened, like they wouldn't be as a big detriment as, when they were negotiating the last time in 2019, 2020, Unrivaled wasn't in existence, Athletes Unlimited wasn't in existence. All of these different domestic leagues and stuff like that and options were not there. So yeah, I think the league is totally underestimating these players, but these are business women. They know what they're talking about. They're college educated women. So
Yep.
yeah, they know what it is, and they're not going to settle for less, as they shouldn't.
The marketability thing always kind of makes me scoff a little bit, because the
Mm,
second most worn shoe in the NBA is the Sabrina 2, and the fourth most worn shoe is the Sabrina 1. Like,
yeah,
NBA players are hooping in Sabrinas. Like, you can't get more marketable than having that. Like,
exactly.
it's ludicrous that it always comes back to the marketability. And even from like a social media standpoint, one of my best videos last year was like Masha Kluindakova wanting to meet a cow at the state fair. Like, all of these
Yeah.
players are all of these players are marketable because they're all just like good stories, like people that have
Yes.
had to work and fight and go to college, and multiple of them are getting like like actual masters and doctorate degrees. And like,
Yeah.
it seems like a place that society would want to pour money into,
Hmm.
not, gyp them out of what they're owed. But Nicole, on that note, now that we got that fun topic out of the way,
Hmm.
where can people find you? Where is your work coming out? I know we mentioned the Best Damn WNBA show, W show, just
Hmm.
W
Yeah. Yeah.
show.
Mhm.
What are you going to be doing this season for the Lynx? And again, make sure to plug yourself.
Yeah, 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 for sure. So on all my social media platforms, it's Ms. Jackson 90. So, but it is MZJAXON 90. I have IG on X and on TikTok as well. TikTok, I'm not super active just yet, but I will be putting some content out at the top of the new year. Again, right now, just busy covering UCLA women's basketball. So attending more games, more practices, doing interviews there. So looking forward to that. As far as links, I've got some stuff cooking up. Definitely want to do some articles, want to interview with some players, some coaches. I want to do some pieces on, the dynasty era and interview Way and BB and stuff like that. So trying to set that up during season if we have a season. um, I do plan to do kind of like this vlog series where I travel to away games and just kind of showcase what it's like courtside and, give behind the scenes access and explore the city and different like women owned sports bars in certain cities and stuff. I've got great connections with a lot and that are in WNBA markets. So just highlighting all of those stories. And yeah, the sky's the limit. So my articles come out on we use Substack is where
Yeah.
we produce. So yeah, find us pretty much if you go to my social medias, you follow me there. I have a link tree with all of like where you can subscribe to the Substack and all of that stuff. So yeah, just follow me there.
Love the idea to do road games. I will be honest, you are going to become Cheryl's favorite almost immediately for doing road games because you're going to be the only person there. The Star Tribune and Pioneer Press don't send people on road games, and I have a day job. And I think Terry is he only really does a couple of them every year. So
Yeah.
it sorely needed journalists on road games, and I know Cheryl appreciates that coverage a ton because there's just not people that are doing it right now. So
Mhm.
I'm excited to see your coverage. I know Lynx fans are going to have a blast. Can't wait to have you on for a couple post game shows this year. Thank you so much for doing this today.
Hey, appreciate it. Thank you for having me, Andrew.
100%. For everyone else, we are recording this before Christmas. I am going to have it come out on the 20, probably Christmas Eve, actually, because Mitch is having something coming out tomorrow. Jude says, thanks. You are welcome, Jude. But Merry Christmas. Happy holidays to everyone. Be safe. Don't get in too many arguments. Drive safe. Remember, if you've had too many, just it's better to stay home. That's all of my public service announcements. And we'll be back in a couple weeks with another missing Lynx episodes, hopefully with the CBA signed. It would be so fun to do an emergency episode and actually have
Mm.
good news to talk about instead of
Yeah.
speculating. So thank
Yes.
you everyone for listening.